and welcome to the Starlight Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Aronson. I'm an actress, creative energy coach, casting associate, and Reiki energy healer. Join me as we discuss the ins and outs of living life as a creative and networking in Hollywood. Enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody. I have Szilva here. So she is a wonderful producer and musician and composer. And then, of course, we'll get into more details. And also, if you can mention how you got started and everything.
Absolutely. I'd like to start by thanking Jamie for having me on her show today. So how I got started, music has been in my veins since I can personally remember. My mum will literally tell you that I was singing before I was speaking. I actually started singing when I was in primary school. You guys call it that elementary school here in America. So in primary school, I began just exploring musical theatre. Every year I would be in the big annual production. I was in the school choir. So I really felt home when I was on stage, and I took some piano lessons. I didn't start writing until I was about 15 years old. So my dad bought me a guitar and I started writing songs just with basic chords on guitar, and just really fell in love with that. About a year later, for my first band, and that was kind of like I would say like funky, like indie rock, a little bit of metal, definitely just very different music. It was a blend of different things, but that just goes to show that from a young age, I was very interested in exploring different types of music. And at one point in life, that was almost like a hindrance to me, but I did overcome that. So I'll go into that in a little bit. My next musical act was in an electronic duo. I was actually signed to an LA-based management company. I was still in Melbourne, Australia at the time where I was born and raised. That was like my first experience in the professional world where, we had to sign a contract and we had to kind of do as they say. It was an experience that taught me that I wanted to be an independent artist and kind of do things my own way. I feel like creative expression is one thing, but your career, like you kind of just, you want to be more, I want to be more hands-on about that. Some people are okay just signing to a label and having them take all their publishing, but I just kind of from a young age, I was like, okay, I want to take the reins on this horse, and I know it's going to be a lot harder. And yes, it has been quite the journey, and as any creative knows, the journey is not easy, but it's certainly worth it. The saying in music is, if you want to be successful in the music industry, be a music attorney. Not an artist. It's not guaranteed, but then again, why do most artists create art? It's because it's in their heart and their soul, and it fulfills their soul purpose and life. So that deal didn't last too long because we ended up spending more money on legals than anything else. I then just thought, okay, great. Had started writing music. I want to produce music. So I'd worked my butt off and spent a bunch of money on my DAW and a keyboard and a mic and all the things that I would have needed to actually learn the technical side of creating music. That was intense. And yeah, it took me quite a while to learn it because I just taught myself how to do it. And yeah, there were literally like 300 wires coming out of everywhere, and I wanted to throw in the towel so many times, but something inside me just said, just keep doing it. You'll get through it. You'll overcome it. And I had written and produced my first album before I came to live in the States. I did have it professionally mixed, but other than that, I did everything on my own. So I created the music and the beats. I wrote the lyrics. I sang everything. At the time, I was living in the heart of Melbourne, right by Albert Park Lake, which is where the Grand Prix race is every year. And my sister was living 2 floors down. I had my bathroom as a recording booth. I just battered it up with acoustic bats so I could use it as a recording studio for my vocals. And I was using my sister's bathroom for like 2 months while I was recording. That was fun. Soon after, I decided it was time for me to move to the States. And that was something that I knew I was going to do. I didn't know how, but I just felt it in my heart since I had been a teenager that, yep, I'm going to be living in America when I'm an adult. that's just what's going to happen.
Wow.
It just goes to show that we can manifest what happens in our lives. And that's a really good example of personal manifestation for my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, since I can't imagine how my life would have panned out if I hadn't moved, because I always felt this urge. I feel like I would have been very not dissatisfied, and I love home, don't get me wrong, but professionally speaking, in the path that I wanted to choose, I just wanted to take that leap of faith, and without knowing how to swim, just jump and figure it out. And I did. I think when you have that persistence and that vision, things just work out.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Nice.
So I would like to talk about how we met. And one of my questions for you is going to be about if you've had synchronicity type of moments that have changed your life. So
I
me
would say
meeting
that would
you,
be one of them. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know how much it's affected your life, but it has changed my life so much.
Definitely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree with you on that, Jamie.
I think we're coming up on 6 months already, which I don't know how that's possible, but there was a networking event that Renee Garcia, who's the casting director that I work for, she invited me to this event. And so you were there. And on my way out, I met you and was told to come to Downtown Los Angeles Film Festival that you were sponsoring. And I got to know you a little bit better there. And I met so many people. A lot of people that are on my podcast, I've met through essentially that first event, but also just what happened after that. And like there's like a ripple effect of meeting people that all started at that first event where I met you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I ended up seeing your documentary at Culver City.
Culver City.
It was Culver City. Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Because you had it at a few festivals.
Yes, we had that film in so many different festivals, but
Was
that
that
was,
one called Who We Are? Did I get that right?
yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so that was a wonderful documentary, and I would love for you to talk about the work you do. You do a lot of great work with like social change and helping people.
Yeah, for that particular project, I was a producer on the film. And then my primary thing is always on the music side. So I co-wrote and co-produced the music with Chris Landon, who is my longtime songwriter and producer buddy. And we've written hundreds of songs together in lots of different genres, pop, dance, country, rock, like theatrical stuff, and then the score as well. So he's amazing.
Yes, he is, and so are you. Speaking of which, the way that I know that you're amazing is you actually created the jingle for my podcast for the intro.
Yes, that was a super fun project and it worked out perfectly. Very bright and happy, just like you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Even though we're both wearing black, it's kind of funny. We matched today.
Nice. I did not just come from a funeral, no.
Me neither. I just happened to be wearing this.
You should see my wardrobe. It was really bad at one point. Oh my God, it's just too much black, It's like,
Really?
goes with everything. And I'm just trying to justify it. It's like, no, Szilva, we need to bring some color into your life. So I've been kind of like slowly wearing colors and being bright. It's all about pushing boundaries in life, isn't it?
That's funny. So I think it's really important for us to hire our friends. And one way to help them know their value, besides just telling them they're valuable, is to show them that they're valuable and that you value their talents and their hard work. So I'm a big believer in hiring your friends. And so I was really happy to be able to hire you to make the jingle for this. And I was so happy with it. Like it would just be stuck in my head sometimes. And I really wanted to be able to hire somebody for the animation as well. So I reached out to a few of my animation friends and they were not available because of the holidays. And I got to the point that I figured I was putting it off too long. So I thought maybe I can figure out how to do it myself. And I did. So I'm really happy with how it came out. But I am also just very happy that I'm forever tied to you because of this jingle. Like we made art together. I love it.
Exactly, in the early stages of our relationship. So that's a beautiful thing because usually it takes a little while. So that's
That's true.
amazing. Yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
happy with that. And, just going back to what you said, it didn't work out with your professional animation friends, but you ended up creating that art and it really is your baby, even though we collaborated on that, you created that visual aspect and it wouldn't have been quite the same if someone else created that for you. I'm a big believer and endorser of positive affirmations, and I say them all the time, and more so I believe them. And one of my favorite personal affirmations is whatever leaves your life is replaced by something even better. And it usually only makes sense in hindsight. So I guess you can maybe relate that to your experience illustrating the intro video, because now it's just so close to home. Every bit of that is you, and it's your show.
That's true. I hadn't thought of it that way. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your latest project that I'm aware of is that you worked on the Barbie animated sequel. Is that correct?
Yes, I was the singing voice of Stacy. So that's Barbie's little sister. The movie's called Barbie and Stacy to the Rescue, and it's Mattel's new Barbie animation. I believe they actually have, I want to say 43 different movies. And like most people don't even know this, but
No.
there's a whole catalog of Barbie animated movies. So this is the latest one. It came into Netflix, yeah, just a couple of weeks ago. So
Oh, wow, it's on Netflix.
it's on Netflix, yes.
Congratulations. That's so cool.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. There's 5 songs in the movie. So I sang in all the songs, and they're all duets. So sometimes I'm singing with Barbie, other times I'm singing with different characters. It's super cute. And all the songs, they were so well written, and they're all super inspiring and uplifting. It's about sisterhood and family and love, and it's a very positive message. So it's great for kids, but it's also great for adults, because so many people are writing me and just saying, wow, I watched it twice and it wasn't with my kids this time. I'm like, wow.
That's cute.
It's great for all ages, and it is super cute.
Adorable.
I have a funny story about intuition. Actually, I have a few, but when I first moved here, I came out here with my co-producer at the time. We had written 2 R&B kind of songs, and he only came out here for 5 days, and I was going to be here for a few months and set up a bunch of meetings and keep working on music, collaborate, and meet with people that could possibly have mutually beneficial relationships with regards to representation and building my catalog. I'd been using Cubase for my first album, and then when I moved here, I got Pro Tools, which is industry standard. I mean, all of them are pretty much do the same thing, but it's just a personal preference. So I thought I'd give that a go, and I was having a really hard time with it. So I decided to jump online and get on a forum, and I was stuck. So I had some questions. And then this guy responded, and he was so helpful, and he just basically just really wanted to help. And then he learned about my music, and then I learned about his music, and we started an amazing collaboration that has lasted many years. And that guy's name is Chris Landon. So we had met because I had a technical issue online. Yeah, it was just a really cool story about synchronicity and how that was written into my path.
Wow, it's funny. I was going to ask you how you met him, since you work on so many projects with him.
Yeah,
And here, of course, it's a synchronicity story. I love that.
definitely.
It was
Yes.
meant to be.
Yes, so many things are meant to be. Another one is, so I was at the Hollywood and Highland, like at one of the clubs when I first got here for a birthday party. The DJ was just playing amazing songs that I was totally vibing with. And I'm like, hey, this guy's really cool. And I just decided that he'd be one of the music people that I'd follow. That was in end of June. And then 4th of July, I'm walking from my car to a 4th of July barbecue, and I see this DJ just walking along the beach, literally coming towards me. And he's like, I know you. I'm like, oh my God. And we're talking the distance between Hollywood and Venice Beach. I mean, to bump into someone just so randomly, right?
Across town, yeah. I mean, on the complete other side of LA.
Exactly. And there's so many people here. And what's the chance of that, honestly? And we connected, and I ended up having my first show at Hollywood and Highland, which he set up
Wow.
when I first came here. So that was really cool. And that's just another example of synchronicity. There's so much in life that is like that, and it's so easy to overlook things. There's also the other side of looking into things too much and just being like, wow, but I like to look at things and just be like, that happened for a reason. And we don't usually realize when that happens until hindsight. We look back and go, oh, well, that wouldn't have happened if that didn't happen. You kind of work your way back kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fun for me. I like doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
So speaking of spiritual stuff, I'm curious, like what energy practices do you have for when your energy is off, or if you have a chakra that's consistently imbalanced?
Well, I can tell you about a chakra that I have that is consistently balanced, which is my throat chakra.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean,
Good.
I'm a vocalist, I'm a
Yes.
songwriter, so self-expression and voice is something that I practice on a very regular basis. I have a good relationship with my throat chakra. I would say I'm mostly balanced, and trust me, it doesn't come easily because we all face resistance in our lives, especially as creatives. One of the things that helps me get grounded is nature. Put my running shoes on, get my earpods and get into nature. I mean, we live in LA, there's so many nice parks and walking trails to get out and breathe fresh air if we can find it. But I like to listen to Esther Hicks Abraham. I don't know
Mm,
that.
I know who that is. Yes.
Yeah. So they're literally like 12-minute videos, and they're little animations, and she interviews different people, and she's just so grounded, and she's all about being authentic and true to yourself, and whatever we put our attention on, we attract. So whether it's negative or whether it's positive. And if you're in a bit of a funk, it's easy to get caught up in things. As creatives, sometimes we do tend to overthink things, and well, we may try to overanalyze a situation. Or breathing exercises are also a good way for me to just get regulated, regulating a heart rate, just getting balanced. As a singer, it's something that I do with my vocal exercises, so that works hand in hand,
Hmm.
not only on a technical level but also grounding wise. And I love exercising. That helps me get grounded. It's the way I start every morning 5 times a week. I love my boxing classes. I do boxing 2 or 3 times a week. I do
Wow.
like HIIT classes and just real high energy stuff. So basically the complete opposite of yoga.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yoga for me, I'm just like, oh, there goes my laundry list. I'm going to start making that.
It's
Yeah.
boring for you, huh?
I mean, I can do it as a cool down, but not,
Hmm.
I wouldn't call it a workout.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, do you have all of these things that you mentioned as part of your morning routine, or is it just throughout your day?
Morning, I try and go to my 8 a.m. classes. I'm a bit of a night owl, and I always have been. So that just kind of kicks me into a good routine, and just, utilizing every hour of the day. Monday through Friday is my like exercisey kind of stuff. And then I might go for a hike on the weekend if I have time. If I don't do it in the morning, then I just don't get time, because you know how it is. Every
Yeah.
day is like chockers, and then if you miss it, once you're used to working out so much, you miss it when you don't do it and your day's kind of off balance. So there you go
Mm.
with the whole balance thing. Sometimes it's hard to get out of bed 6:30 or whatever, but it's worth it. But yeah, part of my morning routine is also supplements. I'm a big believer in you are what you eat and what you put inside your body, and being balanced is partially spiritual, but it's also the nutrients that we're putting into our bodies and the water that we're drinking and eating fresh and all that kind of stuff. So I start every morning with my organic broken cell chlorella powder. It's a superfood, so it's rich in antioxidants. It's really good
Mhm.
for the immune system and digestion and all that kind of thing. And also, yeah, I take so many like supplements like silica and collagen and vitamins and stuff. But my mom is a doctor of Chinese medicine. So
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, so I take reishi mushroom, and I love adaptogens. There's a lot of healing properties
Me
in,
too. Can we talk about adaptogens? Because I think most people don't know what that is.
yeah.
How would you
So
describe it?
it's a medicinal mushroom, basically. It's been used in Eastern medicine for over 5,000 years. There's so many different types of mushrooms, and they all boost the immune system. That is something that they have in common. Chaga, reishi, lion's tail, no, turkey's tail,
Lions. I think it's
turkey's
lion's
tail,
mane.
and lion's mane.
I think ginseng might be an
Yeah.
adaptogen. Like I researched it back in 2020 and I didn't know that adaptogens were all mushrooms, but my interpretation or my understanding of adaptogens was it balances us out, like our immune system. So if we are having, let's say, a lot of anxiety, it'll help calm us down. But if we're feeling low energy, it'll help give us energy, just as an example. But I think it has a lot of other uses. But I just think that that feels kind of magical because it's like it just
Yeah.
knows what our body needs and can
Mhm.
help us, I guess, adapt. So earlier you mentioned something about with your different genres that was a bit of a hindrance for a bit.
I have been listening to different types of music throughout my life, which a lot of people do. And within my songwriting, I will jump from writing an Adele like piano ballad into like a hip hop song or like a heavy rock song, and then just bounce around. And my catalog of music is just everywhere when it comes to genre. I don't have one genre, which I always thought was a good thing until I moved here and I was having meetings with labels and management to get representation. Yeah, they're like, who are you? Like, you can't do this. So I was told that what I was doing wasn't right, but all I was doing was expressing myself. And every song I write is a chapter in my book. So how can you take that away from me? Like, do I want to be a part of this machine? And that's when I decided, hell no, I want to do things on my own. I don't know how I'm going to do them, but like anything in life, if you are on the right path and your intention is there and you're doing it just from your pure source, forging forward, things will kind of pan out. And of course, you're going to hit blocks that want to deter you. And a lot of it is self-talk as well. Like, you know, it's like when things go down, when you don't get the audition or whatever it might be, it's just like, oh, I'm not good enough. No, actually, it's because it wasn't for you. And I have a funny story. I did like some modeling and stuff when I first came out here in hosting. I did a lot of hosting for car shows, all the different car shows, HIN and LA Auto Show, OC Auto Show, all that kind of stuff. So I used to work with different networks to do hosting, which was fun. I did have an agent who sent me out to 2 auditions one day. The first one was for Darion, which is Beyonce's jeans label.
Oh,
And her mum was there and she was casting. And she's like, girl, turn around. And she's like, we love you and all, but we need a bigger booty.
oh my God.
And I wasn't laughing at the time. I was like, okay, cool. Damn it, should have worn those bum pads. I went to my next audition, which was for same day. It was for Runway in Japan. And they looked at me and they said, do you always look like that? And I was just like shocked. And they're like, come back when you've lost 10 pounds. So that day, you know, ripped me up emotionally, but I actually learned something, and I didn't like realize this until hindsight. And I was just like, well, I guess you can't be everything, because if I had a big booty, I wouldn't be able to do the runway thing. From that experience, it was just kind of like drilled into me, just be yourself. You can't be anyone else.
Yeah, I relate when you're talking about the idea of essentially picking a genre versus being versatile, and how it seems like it's a good thing to be versatile, but there is something about this industry where they really want us to pick a lane.
Mhm.
And I think that when we're trying to find that lane, it can be difficult because we want to do multiple things, or we think we can do multiple things,
Yeah.
and we don't like the idea of being boxed in, or we're scared of being limited. And I'm curious if eventually, if we do kind of pick a lane, if we end up feeling peace, like maybe we would feel peace because it's like there's less to think about. We already have so much going on in our lives.
I think it
With
just depends on the person, honestly, and your own path. For me personally, it was a hindrance to me if I was to go down the path of being in that box, being told what to sing, being told what to write, being told what to wear and how to dance, and that whole thing that happens in the music industry. So I did choose the independent path, and I continued to write in many different genres of music. And it wasn't until I got into sync licensing my music that I realized only having one genre of music would be a hindrance to me, which is the complete opposite of what I was told if I wanted to be a signed artist.
Mm.
But I've kept doing what my heart's told me to do and followed my life purpose in creating music that comes to me, because to me, that's a gift to not pick up on my muse when she's like yelling in my ears with lyrics, and me not writing this down or recording them is not serving her.
Yeah,
So
I agree. That makes a lot of sense. I think you're right that it really depends on the person.
mhm.
So with mine, it's not like I've picked a lane. Like I'm actually still exploring to see Am I more of a comedy type of actress, or am I more like dramatic type of actress? I think since I'm thinking out loud, I'm coming to the conclusion that I want to train in all of the categories, and then something will kind of stick more. Like, and as long as I like it, I can run with it. And then once I'm established, I can expand into other categories. And at least I've had training throughout the years. Yeah, I don't think it's like a black and white answer.
I think that's smart for you as an actor, just being prepared in all aspects. They say the industry has a lot to do with luck, but to me, like luck is where preparation meets opportunity. If you
Yes. Yeah, well, success. Yeah, I've heard the exact same thing.
Yeah, so I think you're definitely on the right path. I feel like maybe the music industry is more forgiving in that way. I've had 100 sync licenses in television shows and movies, and my music's been heard in almost 40 countries on network shows and movies. So
Oh, wow.
I feel like if I only had one genre of music, that I wouldn't have got all those placements, because I have music in all different types of genres that are in these productions. So as an actor, I feel like you're doing the right thing for you. And us as creatives and whoever's watching right now, we're on our own path, and it's important to have mentors and coaches to guide us and just constantly keep educating ourselves in our industry. Sometimes I'll be a guest speaker on different music conferences, talking to young artists and helping them understand the basics of the business, like registering your songs, not just putting your songs up on Spotify and then wondering how you're going to get paid because you missed the first step. Yeah, just continuing to have our passion, but also the education running parallel. I think we're just bound to stumble across what is meant for us in life if we do those things and just be authentic to ourselves.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So one of my other questions is I was wondering if you have any shows, movies, or books you'd recommend.
When you said that, the thing that popped into my head was actually a book. It's a book called The War of Art, written by Stephen Pressfield. Have you heard of it before?
Yeah, I've read it.
Oh, amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so for anyone watching right now, it's a book that like helps the reader recognize internal challenges and just how to like figure out strategic ways in overcoming these obstacles. It's great for like providing insight on attaining like success and just not listening to the little guy on your shoulder being like, oh, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that. And sometimes the closest people to us, whether they're family members or friends, like, oh, why are you even bothering with that? Like just get a real job.
No, no one's ever heard that before.
Have you heard that? It's like, shut up. I know what I'm doing. I think it's a great book. It was my first book that I read where I actually felt the author was like a mentor in helping me navigate through the complex terrain of, creativity and self-doubt, that kind of thing. So that's a book that I'd recommend. I not too long ago also watched Limitless. Have you watched Limitless?
Oh my goodness. It's been on my list.
It's amazing. I would highly recommend that for anyone, whether you're in the creative world or not. It's a 6-part series directed by Darren Aronofsky, and it stars Chris Hemsworth. He's amazing. He's just so inspiring. And each of the 6 episodes focuses on a different facet of life and attaining longevity, essentially. They're like mind over matter circumstances that he's put in. Like there's a hot and cold one where he has to literally swim through Alaska with ice in the water, and then he goes into a hot sauna, and it's really good for like health education and longevity, and it also touches on spirituality. So I feel like it's kind of like an all-round great show, and once you watch one you'll get hooked, and they're all independent so they don't flow from each other. So
I don't know if you saw me gasp, but when you said Darren Aronofsky, it was just weird because we were just talking about him. And then for you to mention him, of all the things, right? Like of all of the shows that you could have recommended, what?
that's the beautiful thing about synchronicity. You take it with you and you move along to the next step. And there's so many beautiful things like that in life.
Yes. So. And do you have any specific musical artists or songs that you'd recommend to people?
I love Muse's last album. It's not that new, but I really love Muse's last album. The majority of the music that I write is pop. I will listen to pop for research, but it's not really my preference to, listen to. Honestly, I write so much music that when I listen to stuff, it's usually a podcast or there's frequency sound kind of healing things, or Esther Hicks or something that kind of just stimulates my mind that's not musical, because I feel like I work in music all the time.
Yeah.
I'm constantly around it. I love all kinds of music. It just depends on my mood, depends on what I'm doing. If I'm working out, it needs to be high energy. At night, it's usually kind of more kind of chill, maybe like Chris Cornell acoustics.
Yeah, that makes sense. I relate to that because with casting, sometimes I'll go maybe like a week or two without watching something as a fan or as like a consumer, I'll be watching it because I'm casting. So it is similar where it's kind of like research and stuff. But can you talk a little bit about the frequency sounds? Because I know a bit about it, but I feel like coming from a musician who's also very much a healer on some level, I don't know if you identify as a healer, but I feel like you are so a light worker. So I would love to hear it in your words to tell people about it if they don't know about this.
There's different frequencies that you can listen to that do different things in your body. And there's been like a lot of science behind how these frequencies can benefit health. And they did a study. Where was it? It was in Northern Australia. We had the most beautiful coral life, like the biggest coral life in the world, the second biggest, I think it was. Every single color that you can imagine under the ocean. And, due to pollution and whatnot, it literally died. And it was like bones under the water. It was just white, gray. It was horrible to see because they'd all died out. And then there was some organization, they did an experiment with sound, and they put the sound in the water, the frequency, and over time it started growing back. So they said, wow, this is actually working, that nothing else has been done differently. It's just this sound has been introduced into the environment. And yeah, sure enough, it created life. There was another thing that I saw on social media about these, I think there were whales that were stuck somewhere. And this ship literally, like with sound, was able to guide them out of this, like thousands of whales. Going back to listening to frequencies, I feel like we can create balance in our lives. We can heal ourselves. We are a frequency. Sound is a frequency. We are a frequency. Like everything comes down to energy. So I feel like we have a lot in common with that. And that when we connect with it, we can just become stronger, better, more peaceful, whatever it is that we're looking for.
Yeah, I'd like to share a little bit about what I've heard about it, and then you might be able to guide me. I think it's called binaural beats. So they have ones kind of like I was talking about with the adaptogens, where it's like if you need energy or if you need to relax, you can listen to different frequencies. So they have them on YouTube, and it was recommended to me to listen to it with headphones because there's one coming in one ear and a different one coming into the other ear. And then apparently the magic happens inside of our brain because it's interacting with the sound and coming up with its own connections or something, which that to me sounds like magic.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because it's definitely something I want to look back into. And I have tried it. I've tried it with just the sound, but also with talking. I'm always up for exploring new things, especially if they're empowering and just help open the mind and provide clarity as well.
There's some frequencies that are like literally healing just to listen to. I mean, that's
They're,
so amazing.
yes, and there's frequencies that you can't hear, but it'll still be healing. I know that
Oh,
there's this test that you can do, and they play this frequency. Well, it's not one frequency. It goes from all the way down to all the way up, and everyone falls into a different beginning and end depending on their hearing. But I feel like even if you don't hear it, you're still feeling that frequency because it's
mm.
energy, right? Not all energy is oral.
It seems like it would be up your alley because you're into music and I mean not that it's music but it's still sound and yeah it's to me sound and art it's like it's all related, it's all in the same
Yeah,
realm to me of creativity, and you're also into the healing stuff, and to me spirituality and creativity are very connected.
absolutely. I agree with that for sure. We live in a feel world. Everything is feeling. The frequencies, everything around us, everything we look at, everything we hear, it makes us feel a certain way. So absolutely frequencies can be grounding.
I was wondering, one of my favorite things to ask people is what is your message for the world?
My message for the world is pretty simple: to be authentic and embrace your uniqueness. Don't be too hard on yourself. We live in a society that often pressures us to conform and compare ourselves to others. So it's just remember that there's only one of me, there's only one of you, and everyone else is taking that whole cliche thing, but it's true. It's imperative to remember that true fulfillment comes from staying true to who we are. And authenticity is magnetic. When you're authentic and we embrace our individuality, it allows ourselves to shine authentically, and we end up inspiring others to do the same and honoring our strengths and our quirks and imperfections, and not just the good stuff, but also the stuff that we're maybe too hard on ourselves about. Maybe you get that with your comedy, like improv stuff, your true self comes out and it's like, ooh, was that a little bit too much?
Feels kind of weird, right? Like if we do something that's like very us, it's almost like, wait, who's watching?
Yeah, exactly. My message is just be kind to yourself, celebrate your uniqueness, embrace authenticity, and, the world needs everyone's uniqueness, because if we had all the same thing, it'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's true. So can you tell us a little bit more about these projects? You make films and you make art that essentially are like like social activism.
Yeah, so it's an honor to be working in the industry and having my songs licensed by NBC and Hallmark Films. But I feel like my life purpose is incorporating my skills and music and voice into helping other people. So creating socially conscious projects and writing music for them and being a producer on these films is really important to me. And Immortal Cinema work with a lot of different organizations, some for-profit, some non-profit, and it's not just helping the homeless create their ask videos, which is what they call them. They play them at their galas, and then we take them to the film festivals, and we then help create an awareness amongst society, because a lot of these films are made for like a one-time kind of presentation where they make their money and then it maybe gets used internally. But we want to share these stories with the world and help create an understanding and compassion to what's going on. I mean, is there a day you can drive anywhere in LA and not see homeless people? It's in our face every day, and there's a stigma. Oh, he must be a drug addict. Oh, he's a loser. There's so much judgment. Everyone has a story. Of course, there's going to be people that fell off the bandwagon, and there's a lot of mental illness out there, but there's a lot of people that just couldn't meet their monthly rent and now they're living in a car. So there's a lot of that, and I want to use my skills and voice to help people get back on track. Like, everybody deserves a chance. Homeless is one of the causes we work with. And then there's also like animal rights as well. We did a project on the last white rhino, which was really cool. I did some music for that. One that I was really passionate about on FGM, which is female genital mutilation.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
a heavy subject. But again, Noel worked on this project and we did the music, and he was in Amsterdam working on it for a while. But they were basically interviewing survivors of FGM. And it's not just in Kurdistan. It happens all around the world. It happens here, it happens in Australia. We just don't.
It does? Oh, I thought it was in the Middle East, and I didn't realize that it was happening here.
Yeah, happens everywhere. So basically, this project was bought out by the BBC, and they passed a law in Kurdistan to abolish FGM because of this project, which was really powerful. And
wow.
Yeah, so media is so powerful. There's so much media that can really change lives and change the world. And we're creators. We can do this. There's so much media out there which is destructive and disgusting as well. There's two ends of the spectrum. So I choose to focus my life and my direction into helping others, basically. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I love it. Going along with that, I wanted to ask about how can people find you? And mixed in with that, I was wondering if there's action that people could take. So let's say if people are very inspired by what you're saying, which I'm sure they will be, then if they're like, okay, how can I get involved? And I'm one of these people, because I've been telling you since I met you, like, I need to be involved in these projects because they really speak to me as well. So yeah, what action can people take and how can they find you as far as like social media, website, etc.?
The Veterans Foundation was co-founded by Noah Burlow, and I'm a board member on that one. This foundation is a 501c3, and they help bring veterans on to sets and work in production or post-production or pre-production. So it's a way for anyone in the military that wants some creative outlet to basically learn some skills and help take their minds off what they'd been through in the war.
Wow.
We actually had one vet and he was great. He was very organized and focused. And at the end of the day, he broke down literally crying, basically just said, today was the first day in 12 years that I haven't thought about being on the battlefield. What that exercise provided for him was just so valuable in that it was therapy for him to be part of that production. There was a place for him. He was very helpful, and we do take donations for the foundation. Other than that, volunteering for different things is a great way to help. If you are passionate about a cause, I don't think any organization would knock you back if you wanted to help.
When you talked about the donations, that's perfect. That's great because that's very actionable. And I think that'll absolutely inspire people to want to be able to help because that's such a powerful story.
It is, and it's a powerful cause, and there's a real need for that. I feel like before our soldiers get into their jobs, there's so much training, so much time, so much money that goes into that. But when they come back, if they come back, they're so neglected. It's very rare for me to be on the road all day and not see a vet on the exit of a freeway holding up a sign saying he's a vet and he's homeless. I feel like they are just discarded humans when they come back. They're not getting the therapy and the love and the compassion that they need from the government, essentially, who's failing to do that. So that's what we step in on a small scale and be able to help people that would be interested in learning about film productions, not just being on set, but post and build their skills.
That's so awesome. And how else can people find you? Do you have a website?
I have two websites. szmusicgroup.com is more geared towards my role as a composer and sync licensing. And then Szilva.net is my artist website. So if I just give you my Linktree, that has like maybe 8 links, including my Spotify. I have around 20 something songs on Spotify, of course, in all different genres.
With your beautiful voice, by the way.
Thank you, love.
I love it.
And yeah, I mean, my music is on all platforms. So I am, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer. It's Linktree. It's linktr.ee/Szilva Music. So it's just one little hub. Makes it easy. You can pick whichever you want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm so happy you were able to come on.
Yes, I'm very grateful. Thank you for inviting me on your beautiful show. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. You're doing it. You're here.
Thank you.
And I wanted to congratulate you on the divorce story. I had no idea. I want to see it. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so the update there is it's called A Divorce Story, and we filmed it in October in Asheville, North Carolina. And they edited it pretty quickly. And I've seen the trailer, but I haven't seen the full thing yet because the director was saying that because it's going to be screened in France, and I'm planning on going to France to see it because we're nominated for some awards.
Right.
What was that? Oh, yeah, Nice.
Yeah,
Nice International Film Festival.
From what I've seen, wow, you're amazing. Seriously.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
We're trying to figure out about a premiere or some kind of screening, maybe in LA or something. There's a lot of people that are interested in seeing it, and I think it would be a missed opportunity to not screen it somewhere. So, and not everyone's going to go to France.
No, I mean, yeah, it's going to be difficult for everyone, but are you thinking of doing a film festival circuit with it or not?
We are. So that's how we got into the Nice International Film Festival. And we actually already won Best Feature for January for Cine Paris Festival, which is like a small one that's new that not a lot of people heard of.
Was that your first festival?
Yeah, Cine Paris is the first one that we got into, and we already won Best Feature for it.
That's what I'm saying. It's amazing.
Yeah. And then we got into Nice, and then we got 4 nominations. It's really exciting.
And then we got into another one that was like local in Virginia, I think, which is like where the director lives. But yeah, I mean, we're submitting to other festivals, and he said it's like a 6-month process or something. So I just have to be
Wow.
patient. But at some point, I really would love to do some kind of screening in LA to be able to invite
Yeah, I
everybody
think so.
to.
Definitely. You'll have to let me know.
I
I'll bring some
will.
people.
Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you and also just to interview you because you have so many wonderful things going on. And I'm excited to essentially like show you off to the world. Like, this is my friend.
Well, it was a pleasure catching up with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast. So, congratulations on everything that you're doing. It's amazing, very
Thank
inspiring.
you. Yeah, for you as well. Congratulations.